Very warm greetings from the Asian Productivity Organization Secretariat in Tokyo. Welcome to the APO's Productivity Talk, a series of discussion focusing on key topics related to enhancing productivity. So today we are going to explore the vital connection between productivity, innovation, with a special focus on the role of science, technology, and innovation capacity, or STI capacity. So we'll explore how harnessing STI can unlock new levels of productivity, particularly through a global collaboration and strategic partnership. Our discussion, titled Innovating for Productivity, Unlocking Global Potential Through Strategic Growth, will highlight how innovation serves as the engine for sustained economic progress and competitive advantage in today's interconnected world. Strengthening STI capacity is crucial for sustaining productivity, driving industry modernization, and fostering the shift toward a knowledge-based economy. Technological innovation powered by automation and resource optimization enhances output while reducing costs. R&D, which is a core pillar of STI, will ensure economies remain competitive by creating new products and processes continuously. Innovation ecosystem, comprising universities, research institutes, industries, government bodies, and global R&D networks, accelerate technological advancement, translating them into practical solutions that boost productivity. This STI-driven approach not only supports economic resilience, but also align with sustainable development goals by promoting resource-efficient, environmentally conscious technologies. Continuous investment in STI is vital for perpetuating innovation and maintaining long-term productivity in an increasingly technology-driven global market. So in this P-Talk, we will share and discuss how the Asia and Pacific region can optimize its potential in leveraging STI to sustain productivity by addressing existing gaps and enhancing the region's human capital, R&D capacity, technology adoption, policy framework, etc., etc. So to discuss about this further, we are gladly joined today by Dr. Hien Thu Pham. Hi, Dr. Hien. It is a pleasure for us to have you here today in this talk.
Hi, and a warmly greeting from Brisbane, Australia. So I'm very excited here today, be invited by APO to share some of my thoughts and expectation for the regions in the future relating to productivity, innovation, especially and the current stage of SDI capacity.
So the pleasure is with us, Dr. Hien. So Dr. Hien is a senior research scientist in the innovation economics team at CSIRO's Data 61. CSIRO is actually Australia's National Science Agency. She is also a chapter president of Queensland of the Vietnam Australia Scholars and Expert Association. Reflecting her commitment to strengthening ties between Vietnam and Australia in the research area. Her expertise in macroeconomic modeling, econometrics, and natural language processing drives the research goals of Data 61's Humans and Machines group. So with a PhD from the University of Queensland, Dr. Hien has also worked at Vietnam's Ministry of Planning and Investment, specializing in ODA management. Her research explores innovation practices, the impact of technology on economies, and strategic foresight shaping the digital transformation policy in Australia, Vietnam, and ASEAN. She also founded so-called vnconnect.info, which is an AI-powered platform connecting Vietnamese AI experts around the world. So before Dr. Hien will start with her sharing, I would like to invite viewers of this talk to leave comments and questions in the live chat below. So Dr. Hien, you may please start with your sharing.
Thank you. And thanks again for giving me opportunity to share some of my observation and thinking relating to innovation and innovation capacity of the region. So it's a very critical time for not only APO members, but around the world, in order to rethink about growth and strategies in order to capture the advantage of mega trends, as well as to tackle some of the major issue relating to global sustainability, such as the climate change, the social inclusions, among many others. And with that, this topic is focusing on how innovation is happening in APO member countries, how innovating is enhancing productivity and to unlock the global potential through strategic growth. So in this research, we do a lot of thinking, and also we would like to share with you today first the rethink of economies growth strategy, and then some share view and current statistics on the current stage of AUPO members' innovative capacity, and also some key challenges and opportunity for STI development in APO member countries. So many research shows that the urgent need for change in growth trajectories of country because of major global mega trends. And in 2022, we developed a report on global mega trend called Future of Global Future. And then we identified six major global mega trends that will shape the growth trajectories of countries, that including the impact of climate change, the motivation toward cleaner, leaner, and greener consumption and production, the escalation of health imperatives, highlight the impact of aging population, and also the rising demand to tackle some emerging disease and unhealthy lifestyles. We also see the emergence of the digital transformation, the increasingly autonomous and more recently generative AI that transform the way people work and live, and also the way the societies operate. All of that are shaping with all challenges and opportunity, but also at the same time make people rethink about how countries and even individuals or company need to reshape their growth trajectories. One study by EU and Netherlands experts showing that 2035 is the year of no return. So it means that if we don't have any action now, there will be critical 2035 is the year that we will not be able to reverse any impact of climate change, and there's a huge impact to the global economy. So it's now urgently that the country need to grow, but the growth need to pair with the sustainability. So it need to pair with combating climate change, prioritize people need not only now but in the future as well, and also expand choices and reduce the uncertainty. At the same time, and also importantly, is to unlock the domestic market potential while still maintain and increase global competitiveness. So how can we do that? And especially in the ASEAN Pacific regions. So we let's look back in history. So ASEAN Pacific is the birth place of the export lead growth strategy, whereby you can see whole lot of growth and prosperity comes from um, export development, from FDI, and also technology transfer. Uh, the value of export growth strategy is still valid. However, there's the due to the emergence of new trends and mega trends, as we mentioned above, there's a need to reshape the export-led growth strategy of countries. So innovation productivity should be in the core to reshape the strategy. And we think about the ASEAN Pacific countries. So there's many thinking that now we need to shift and from uh, there's many thinking that like there should be some industrialization, in the sense that you move directly from agriculture to uh, service without the industrialization. However, research also shows that the value of manufacturing is key importance to to nations in the region. So we're thinking of uh, innovation, productivity, but also when we think about the value chain. So manufacturing have a very long supply chain. So let's say, for example, uh, in automobile, for example, to generate the combustion engine, for example, you that require about 3,000 different pieces, and it creates not only the jobs in within the production process, but it includes many upstream and downstream activities as well. So you can imagine a broad and very comprehensive and complex supply chain, and that will be the source for jobs and also value added to the country. At the same time, um, the value of export is still mainly for tradable goods. So let's see, the value of the service trade is about around 6 trillion, whereas the trade from goods are around 25 to 26 trillion, which is triple the value of trade experts. So we see that is there create more opportunity for trade and integration into global market. But it doesn't say that you will be using the same manufacturing and providing the same export of products as before. You will see the integration of digital tech into manufacturing and as well as agriculture. Service like Industry 4.0, agriculture will be the new areas of exports that country need to look at. At the same time, like sustainability will be the key for export lead growth strategy as well. So you see in green and economies, there's the need for decarbonization products, and also for in blue economies, for example, like marine rich resource country will be have opportunity to explore and expand sustainable export through utilizing marine resources. And in purple or care economy as well, you see the opportunity to free women for more economic participation. So one research shows that like you include women into more economic participation will create about $4.5 trillion by 2025 in Asia Pacific countries. And of course, the utilization and the increased application of frontier technology will also be the key in reshaping the export-led growth strategy. So how can we do that? How can we utilize and grow with uh, that ambitious trajectories? That it will very much depend on how the country can nurture and also um, develop the innovation and enhance productivity, which very much depend on its innovative capacity. So innovation in capacity, innovative national innovative capacity is not about the realized level of innovative output. However, it will reflect more the fundamental determination of innovation process. So how well the country can utilize resources and produce innovation. So in this presentation, we will focus and see how innovation capacity of APO country is at the moment, and see the gap, also the challenge as well as the opportunity for innovation in APO countries. So one of the very good and common way to summarize innovation capacity through indexes. So here we summarize and add some of the commonly cited indexes, including the Global Innovation Index, the Global Competitive Index, Global Knowledge Index, as well as the Readiness Index for Frontier Technology and Digital. So the first four is more focusing on the general and the overall capacity of the country, including the capacity to transform the innovation input to output, such as the GII, whereas the two last one is more focusing on how well the country is prepared and the absorbed capacity of the country relating to frontier technology and digital tech. And here we can see that the diversity in the innovation capacity of APO countries. So we have the leading countries like Singapore, Korea, Japan, but we also have countries where still struggling at the very bottom of the ranking, like Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar, for example. So there's also a promising landscape in the sense that there will be a lot to learn, and the spillover effect of the within the APO countries to enhance and also develop as a group. This slide also shows the growing and the promising capacity of many APO members. So here we can see lots of cities in APO member countries have listed as a global leader or the specific specialist leaders in terms of innovation. So Singapore, Mumbai, New Delhi, Taipei, and others. Also, over time, we see much progress in terms of innovation ranking. For example, among ASEAN countries, so over the last 3-5 years, we see in the last 2 years, 8 out of 10 ASEAN countries have increased their ranking in terms of innovation global index. And Vietnam, for example, have executively 10 year in a row increasing its ranking. Also, many countries in APO have performing above their average level of income. That is like Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, among others. So there's a promising, and also countries are progressing to improve their innovation capacity. To zoom in more about the innovation capacity and also the impact, let's look at some of the key indicator. So first, when we look at the research and publication growth, we see that Asia, for example, contribute the highest proportion of global population around the world in 2024 and 23. That include China. However, country like India, Japan, and more recently Indonesia, Malaysia also contributing a significant part into the publication proportion. However, in terms of productivity, mm, we see that ASEAN is still lagging behind. So for example, ASEAN country, the publication productivity is only 1.33, which is below the world average. And for example, just half of the Australian productivity growth. So that is something that we need to consider and improve as well. So in terms of collaboration, most of research in ASEAN, except for some country like India, are very much dependent on international collaboration. So there's high proportion of research that need international collaboration. One of the interesting facts is that among the APO countries, the research tend to uh, um, uh, researchers in APO country tend to collaborate with country that outside of the APO or Asia Pacific region. So US, EU, Germany, UK, for example, are the top collaborators of country in the regions, whereas like there's a kind of limited coordination and collaboration across researchers and also research institutes within the APO members. So that is something that APO countries should also look at, or APO can have some strategic improvement in getting the more collaborative network within the regions. In terms of intellectual property, so there's not like research publication. There's not much progress in IP generation in many of the APO countries. For example, the total IP generation, especially patent, the total patent by ASEAN in 2020 is only around 15,000. So compared to, for example, Japan, generating about 400,000 patents per year. So you see that there's a high concentration of patent in a very limited number of countries. So even in ASEAN, for example, like the patent is only concentrated in about 3 countries, like Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam, Thailand. So they'll contribute about 85 to 90% of the total patent in the whole ASEAN region. So that is also something that need to be improved. Also, like the areas that most APO country focus on are very narrow and in niche technology. For example, in ASEAN, mostly concentrated on the the sector that they have a strong presence in trade, and also it is in a very niche areas. It's very different with EU or Northern American, where they have quite a broader range of IP. Also, IP enforcement is also an areas of improvement in IPO members. In Asian countries, so utility models and secret is increasingly important tools for IP protection outside the traditional one, such as patent and trademark. So this is also an interesting trends. So a recent research by Cambridge also saw the scenarios of IP IP scenario of development in the next 40 years, and they say one of the scenarios saying that there will be no IP system as by today, because most of IP will be captured in form of trade secret or in contracts. So that will be an interesting aspect for consideration as well. So let's look at the impact of innovation and innovation and productivity in the region. So this graph on the right hand side show you the labor productivity decomposition over the last 20 years of the APO member country, and as you can see, the capital deepening still contribute a significant part in majority of APO member countries. So around more than 60% and as high as 70% in Vietnam, for example. The ICT contribution, though, has been increasingly become an important input into the production process in Asian and countries, uh, shows very limited contribution to labor productivity that can show two problems. The first thing is the measurement problem. So whether we have already captured the right impact on and the right volume of ICT as an input to the production process. So data collection is one issue, and another thing is whether ICT have been deployed and utilized at its optimal level in the APO countries. Again, TFP is also recognized as contribute significant to the TFP labor productivity growth, though it's more so in more developed nations within APO members. In a less developed country, for example, Brunei or Laos, for example, we can see like even negative contribution of TFP. So this also raise a concern and also a opportunity of collaboration and technology transfer within the region. Another areas that we need to look at is the innovation or energy efficiency. So did capture how well the country utilize energy for production and consumption within the region. So you can see here over time, the electricity consumption per capita is increasing dramatically. So over the last 20 years, it increased more than 1.5 times, and associated with that is the increase dramatically of CO2 emission into the climate. So the energy contribute and increase 187% in terms of energy, CO2 emission within the ASEAN Pacific regions. And on the right hand side, we see that that is the energy intensity of APO member country over time. So that shows how the countries are improving their efficiency in energy use. So the energy intensity decrease over time, so the improvement in energy efficiency. And in most of country, we see a decrease in energy intensity over time, and that is a very encouraging improvement. However, countries like Iran, for example, also see an increase over time of energy intensity, which also need a serious consideration in terms of government policy. So another graph also show you the correlation between the level of development, which is proxy by the labor productivity, and the energy efficiency over time. And you can see the U shape here. So energy efficiency not only will reflect the level of development, but also reflect the economic structure of the economy. So, for example, Singapore and more developed countries like Japan, with the shifting more to service sector, we have seen we see a more efficient use of energy per capita. However, countries like Indonesia, Philippines, Bangladesh also see a quite significant improvement and encouraging energy efficiency. And it's also interesting for country to see and explore how this country can enhance their energy efficiency. So for the next section, we'll focusing on some key innovative enabler of the innovation system and innovation capacity of the country. And the first thing we look at is the economic complexity and the global value change. So over time, the economic complexity uh, uh, improve in most of all APO member countries, and that show you the level of country that are ready for innovation and the level of complexity in the innovation capacity of the country. So the country which have more diverse and innovation capacity tend to have a more improve their level of economic complexity. And on the right hand side, we see that the improvement of the um, number of items that export over time in a pure member country. It also show the improvement in the economic complexity of the country. However, there's still lots of improvement, as you can see that many countries like Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Bangladesh, for example, are still in the bottom of the level of economic complexity. There's the three challenges for APO member country that I'll specify here for consideration in order to improve their innovation capacity and to utilize and the opportunity in mega trends for growth. The first thing and the foremost thing is human resource development. So you can see that in most APO member country, the workforce is young and very diverse and vibrant. Like 60% of the youth populations are in Asian Pacific country. However, there's only very limited human resources for researchers for research in the region, except for a country like Japan, Korea, and Singapore. Most of countries have a very limited number of researchers in per million population, and the improvement haven't seen much over time. And another areas is skills. So there's a huge demand for new skills to grasp the advantage of digitalization and also the climate or green economy. However, although we see the transition into medium and high skills in APO countries, we still see that there's the more requirement in terms of skills in companies. So we see that the 85% of APEC countries, companies are actively reskilling its IT workers, and also it creates a huge demand for new skills. Not only hard skills, soft skills is also very important for transition. So APO countries are considered and to lack of many soft skill like the ability for active learning, like management skill, among others. And also, there's a rise in the talent acquisition across country. And one of the key challenge for upper countries businesses recorded by surveys is how to retain their talent. So the worry, like 27% of business worry to retain their talent, compared to 20% on the average of the average size of the global. So that will be some key challenge that country need to tackle. Another things also need to be considered will be the innovation infrastructure. So we can see that APO countries have encouraged, developed a lot of IT infrastructure, and it's very encouraging. The APO members have one of the best broadband speed around the world, and it also hosts some of the largest data center around the world, like Singapore, Tokyo, Seoul, for example. However, there's still lots of improvement, and the digital divide and the lack of infrastructure in remote area will be some of the key challenge that country need to look at. And the last but not least, and maybe the most important challenge that developing country need to tackle is the tackle to finance, where country and companies are facing in order to generate a long-term investment to invest in SDI. So you can see here domestic credit to private sector is very low in many countries. R&D investment in many APO countries is among the lowest around the world. For example, among ASEAN country, like except for Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand, all other countries have put like less than 0.5% of GDP to R&D investment. Venture capital is in developing, however, is still not enough. So we are still lacking, for example, 800 billion per year for climate financing, and then digital financing also increasing a lot. And that is also one key things that the country can look at in order to finance innovation. For example, here we can see that 45% of alternative finance went to micro SMEs, and that is very encouraging. That country can utilize that for development. So that is some of the very quick statistics that we gather, and kind of bring you a broad picture on how innovative capacity of APO member country are. And we really hope that that can provide you some guideline on the gap, and also some key opportunity for investment for future development. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Jyoti Hien, for the sharing. I think there were some of the interesting topics that we could sort of try to implement it, particularly for the policymakers, so then they can have like strengthen SDI, and at the same time their innovation capacity will increase, and at the same time their productivity level. So allow me now to proceed to the next step of this discussion, which is about the Q&A. So I will go through some of the questions that I have on the list, so then we can have the discussion based on your presentation and based on the list of the questions that I have. So the first question is about, I think we know that many countries in the region, particularly the one at the lower income level, they are struggling with providing equitable access to quality of STEM education, STEM education, and technical training. Vocational training is also included here. So now the question is, how can the governments in those countries scale up STEM education as well as vocational training to ensure that their workforce will be future ready, so then they can sort of speed up a little bit with the level of socioeconomic progress. So how about this, Dr. Hien?
Thank you. Thank you very much for the very interesting and very important questions. So we know that STEAM and tech skills are very essential for the emerging industries such as green tech, digital tech, or advanced manufacturing. And we see that even in rural areas. So that skill will lead to innovation in areas like agriculture and health and help to flourish the local community. But there are huge challenges in providing and scale up STEM and vocational training in rural areas. So that include the infrastructure, whether you have the pool of qualified teacher, the access to new technology, and additional to that, like given the diversity in the regions you face with the challenge relating to agriculture, culture, language, and also many others. So innovation and digital tech can facilitate and help countries to scale up and to reach the most remote regions with STEAM and education. For example, you can see lots of examples of platform of remote learning, and also even to access to the internet and provide a greater access to digital. We see advancement in technology have or have to provide more affordable access. For example, country have used the low Earth orbit satellite, or you use the TV wide space technology to provide digital access or internet to the most remote areas of the world. However, in order to utilize those technology, countries need to of course prioritize the investment in infrastructure and to have those affordable technology to be implemented. At the same time, the collaboration within government, the NGO, local community, and especially private enterprise are very important, and that's the key in order to provide more finance incentives, and also to even create the tailor programs and curriculum that can address the need of the local needs. So, for example, for a rural area, the training relating to renewable energy, to health, for example, and international collaboration, of course, it will be also the key to help country to learn from the best practice from others.
All right. I think you mentioned one of the most important things that need to be had is actually the investment on R&D infrastructure, which is actually the theme of my next question to you. So I think we know that in developed economies in the Asian Pacific region, such as Japan and South Korea, they have really strong R&D sectors, right? But while the other part of the region, developing nation, they lack necessary investment in R&D infrastructure. So now my question is actually about how can we find a sustainable financing models, so then we can have, like, both public and private sectors kind of have really strong motivation to invest in R&D in those emerging economies. So, what is your thought on this, Dr. Hien?
Yep. So as I mentioned in my presentation, for innovation and for the to grasp the opportunity of the mega trends like the green economy, the digital tech, there's a huge demand for investment and uh, and at the moment like for example in infrastructure 90% of infrastructure are invested by public sector. In R&D for on is not the different, so especially in developing country like Vietnam for example, less than 40% of the R&D comes from private sector. So why infrastructure, especially the R&D infrastructure, does not attract private interest in the region? So of course you can name it like the long loan time return, the high level of risks, and but also in the region we see that it's not there's lack of very clear regulatory
Mm,
incentive and regular and frameworks, and also at the same time is a less developed financial market. So uh, s- uh, to me, APO member country need to be quite innovative in and also put a very clear target and focus on to attract private sector to finance R&D. So mission is also one of the key and a very useful tools to see a clear mess to send a clear message of the government.
mm,
So for example Australia, we have the net zero mission where we target of net zero until 2050 and pull there a bunch of money and also lots of mechanism efforts and even the market mechanism on the carbon credit there in order to boost the contribution of private sector to R&D investment. At the same time, the regulation support and streamlining is also important. Look at Singapore, for example, when they have a very clear and very encouraging legal framework, or like the government fast track approval for innovative and R&D projects, the IP regulation, and they have already attract so much of interest from private sector in investing in those things, in innovation and R&D. And at the same time, we can also utilize the multilateral funding. So look at, for example, the PACE platform, which is the Pan Arab clear and clean energy platform. So they pull together 18 stakeholders, including countries as well as a multilateral funding, and it have already attract so much interest and contribution of private sector as well. Um, a country also can look at more innovative model of financing, so peer-to-peer lending platform, crowding out funds, social impact for a social impact bond, for example, are also very effective tools that can mobilize resources from private sector to investment in R&D and infrastructure. And blockchain also a very useful tool for nations to be more transparent and clear in terms of monitoring and facilitating the flow of finance. So there are a whole lot of different ways that countries can look at in order to mobilize more financial resource from private sector as well as international funding for to invest more in R&D infrastructure.
So one of the things that limits the commercial application of innovation is actually um, the gap between academic research institution and industry. I think you also pointed out and share in your presentation like the low level of patent, right, in some countries. So now the question is that, the gap that I'm referring here is actually can be in terms of the supply and demand mismatch. So the things that can be supplied by research institution is not the things that is being demanded by the industry.
Hmm.
So the question is that how can policies, this is merely about how, for the policymaker, how can policy be structured to encourage a stronger and more effective collaboration between academia, government, and private sector to drive innovation, to put more application of innovation in the market, for example. Your view on this?
Yep. So for long, like innovation, national innovation system framework on policy development have shown the increasingly importance on the triple helix, which is the collaboration with or the coordination between government, academy, and also industry. And more importantly, recently, is how the research institute can actually produce the what industry needs. And it's not only the questions that developing countries facing, it's the questions for all country including Australia. So in Australia there's a huge research and exploration on different ways to accelerate and to facilitate the commercialization and spin-off of the academic and university research. Um, and one of the things that we see is the problems of effective communication and coordination. For a product or an innovation to be commercialized, we need the to align the priorities, the timeline, and the culture of different identity, which are very different. Private companies things and the objectives are very different from researchers, and usually they don't speak the same language. So innovation brokers are one of the key things. So they are acting as the bridge and to explain and to manage the expectation of both sides, as well
Hmm.
as to bridging the gap and ensuring that the products that or the projects meet with the timeline and the expectation of the industries, and also as well as the university, for example. um, so uh, ca- countries or the governments can provide incentives for collaboration. So, for example, in Australia, we have research funds where they required the collaboration between researchers and the private sector, and that encouraged people to collaborate more, talk more, and to promote the linkage and the between research and application. Management of IP is also the key thing as well. So standardize the IP arrangement to make sure that there's a balance between the knowledge sharing and publication intention by researchers, as well as protection of IP by private companies, also important. At the same time, uh, uh, um, the streamline of regulation process and the clear guidance on how to operate and to coordinate between research and private sector is also important in order to facilitate the coordination and collaboration among the two. And one of the things that we in CSIRO find very useful is implementation or commercialization to be successful need to be considered at the very early stage of R&D. We talk about commercialization before we start doing research, and that will guide the topic as well as the theme of research, especially in CSIRO. So that is one of the very interesting facts that we find. And as a sidelight fact, CSIRO is the biggest IP holder in Australia.
So thank you so much for that. So the next question is going to be the last question that I have on the list due to the time limitation that we have. So um, many technologies actually develop in advanced countries, and it is there might be certain reason why this cannot be transferred to the less developed one. I think market mechanism, market power is one of the thing explaining why it's that happening. But then my question is going to be about how can this be this phenomena, the kind of like to encourage more transfer of technology from developed or advanced country to the less developed country, can this be sort of overcome or strengthened only by regional cooperation? Or we need something that's stronger than that, perhaps market mechanism, as I mentioned, kind of like having more and more market power. So then there is this enough incentive for whoever involved actually then to transfer their technology that they invented. So your view on this?
To transfer technology from one country to another. So, if we look back into histories, we think that we can see that there's a traditional ways of technology transfer through FDI, through trade. So, where country have to uplift their standard in order to meet the standard of international country, and then also FDI and labor mobility also is a very traditional channel for technology transfer. So we see the development of mutual recognition arrangement, the platform for example, the ASEAN, Japan SDI platform, whereby the researchers of the countries can jointly work together under the projects, and then the mobility of labor will lift and also facilitate a lot of technology transfer through the regions or internationally. But more recently, with the development of digital tech, we see a whole lot of new ways of sharing and technology transfer. So data sharing and regional innovation platform are also critical, and also providing a new opportunity for countries to collaborate beyond the boundary of the region or the neighbor country. So we a whole lot of initiatives and platforms that facilitate the exchange of knowledge and exchange of expert ideas. So one of the projects that we developed for Vietnam is the developing the AI for VN uh, VN Connect, a platform where we pull all the profile of all Vietnamese experts in AI area and provide a platform for Vietnamese researcher in AI globally to share ideas and to collaborate over the virtual platform. Twinning model like research institute partnering with each other is also a very common ways to increase the collaboration and technology transfer. And the private public partnership is actually a very effective tool for technology transfer. Singapore, for example, have developed the Singapore Global Innovation Alliance, the GIA, and it have already attracts and see a whole lot of technology transfer projects within their platform and frameworks. So those are many creative ways that countries and companies are now using to partnering with each other and to increase the technology transfer. And that is also the opportunity for developing countries.
So thank you so much for all of those sharing. I think we are reaching toward the end of our talk. So perhaps the last thing that I would like to request you, Dr. Hien, is actually to highlight 2 or 3 points that you would like the viewers of this talk to understand it, and to, for the policymakers, for example, something that they could implement it. So please, Dr. Hien.
Yep. So I think one of the foremost thing, as I mentioned, very from very beginning of my presentation, is now the is now or never. So it's very urgent that countries are really seriously consider their growth trajectories in order to not only to flourish the economy but also to move toward more sustainable development, tackle the social inclusion, as well as climate change. Also, as we see in the presentation, there's huge potential for the regions to collaborate and to take advantage of other countries, as well as to collaborate for development. So one of the research so that like the level of in 2018, the level of development of the three top country GDP per capita, like in 2018, the level of GDP per capita of country like Vietnam, Philippines, and Laos is less than the GDP per capita of the top three country in the world 100 years ago. So you can see that there's a huge potential growth if we move to the right direction and to choose the right to develop. So it's very hopeful and also exciting to see how APO member countries are developing their nation for growth and sustainable development.
So with that, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to you, Dr. Hien Thu Pham, for sharing your knowledge with us. I would also like to thank the viewers of this talk for your engagement. So if you have comments and questions, please leave them on our YouTube channel, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we could. So Dr. Hien will be very happy, I believe, to provide us with the answer to your questions. So if you like to receive update on our future APO productivity talk and any other updates related to APO, please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Please also share this speed talk to your network and colleague. So we'll see you again in the next APO productivity talk, and thank you.
Thank you. Bye.